Hello everyone, our today's topic for discussion is atomic absorption spectroscopy. In analytical chemistry, atomic absorption spectroscopy is a technique for determining the concentration of a particular metal element and the trace elements such as aluminium, cadmium, lead, etc. The flame photometry differs to atomic absorption spectroscopy. If the sample contains more than one metallic element in flame photometry, then it will show spectral interference. And to avoid this, the metallic element must be separated from the rest of the sample matrix, and then only it can be subjected to analysis. But in atomic absorption spectroscopy, such interference is not there. So, no prior separation is required and it saves time. It can detect the elements up to the ppm level, and food, soil and water samples are generally detected by using atomic absorption spectroscopy. The technique typically makes use of a flame to atomize the sample, but the other atomizers such as graphite furnace are also used. There are three steps in the atomization process. The three steps which are involved in turning a liquid sample into an atomic gas. The first is the desolvation, the second is the vaporization, and the third is the volatilization. Desolvation is a process in which the liquid solvent is evaporated and the dry sample remains. In vaporization, the solid sample vaporizes to a gas. And in volatilization, the compounds making up the sample are broken into free atoms. Now coming to the principle of atomic absorption spectroscopy. The liquid sample solution is aspirated into the flame, similar to the flame photometry, and it will produce droplets of the sample solution. From these droplets, solvents get evaporated and we get solid residue in the flame. The solid residue is then get vaporized in the flame and the gaseous molecules are produced. For example, if we are taking NaCl sample, then NaCl gaseous molecules are obtained. Then because of the flame temperature, the gaseous samples get dissociated. For example, if we are taking NaCl sample, then sodium is dissociated from chlorine and we get a ground state gaseous sodium metal atom. Now, the radiation is allowed to pass from a radiation source and to this ground state gaseous sodium metal atom. Some of the radiation source is absorbed by the sodium metal atom, but some of the radiation are transmitted, and this transmitted radiation is detected by the detector. It is also important to note here that the absorption of the radiation follows here the Beer-Lambert's law, and we have already discussed about the Beer-Lambert's law in our previous lectures related to UV visible spectroscopy. Now coming to the instrumentation. The instrument used in atomic absorption spectroscopy is called as atomic absorption spectrophotometer. And the component of atomic absorption spectrophotometer are: first, the radiation source, that is the hollow cathode lamp. The second is the rotating chopper. The third is the atomization unit. Fourth is the monochromator. Fifth is the detector and the amplifier. And sixth is the readout device. Now coming first to the radiation source, that is the hollow cathode lamp. The lamp is filled with an inert gas like argon or neon, and when a potential is applied, it causes the gas to become excited and it is driven towards the cathode. Now the metal atoms are then spurted off the surface of the cathode. The repeated bombardment of the metal atom by the gases causes it to excite, and it ultimately relaxes to produce specific atomic emission lines. This source produces emission lines specific for the elements used to construct the cathode. The cathode must be capable of conducting a current for it to work. The hollow cathode lamp is the most common radiation source in atomic absorption spectroscopy. The lamp consists of a glass tube. The lamp is filled with argon or the neon gas. The cathode is a cylindrical metal cathode containing the metal for excitation and an anode. When a high voltage is applied across the anode and cathode, the gas particles are ionized. As voltage is increased, gaseous ions acquire enough energy to eject metal atoms from the cathode. Some of these atoms are in excited state and emit light with the frequency characteristic to the metal. Many modern hollow cathode lamps are selective for the several metals. The type of the hollow cathode tube depends on the metal being analyzed. For analyzing the concentration of a copper in an ore, a copper cathode tube would be used, and likewise for any other metal being analyzed. The electrons of the atoms in the flame can be promoted to a higher orbitals for an instant by absorbing a set of a quantity of energy. The second important instrumentation portion is rotating chopper. Resonance radiation given by hollow cathode lamp as well as sample atoms in the flame due to thermal excitation are detected by detector, which creates an interference in the absorbance measurement. To eliminate the radiation coming from the atom in the flame by the excitation of the atoms, rotating chopper is used. Rotating chopper is arranged in between the flame and the hollow cathode lamp. It is a circular disc which is divided into 4 quarters, out of which 2 are mirrored and 2 are opened. When disc rotates at a high speed, when the mirror are in the front of the lamp, it reflects the radiation. The second moment, it opens in the front of the lamp and the radiation passes to the sample being absorbed by it and reaches the detector in pulses. Steady light from the hollow cathode lamp is broken into an irregular beam or pulsating light. This gives alternating or the pulsating current in the PMT detector, that is the photomultiplier tube detector. This alternating or the pulsating current is amplified by the amplifier. The radiation emitted by atoms in the flame produces a steady current which is not amplified. Now coming to the atomization unit. The atomizer is a sample cell of atomic absorption spectroscopy system. The atomizer must produce the ground state free gaseous atoms necessary for the atomic absorption spectroscopy process to occur. The analyte atoms are the generally present in the sample are in the form of the salt, molecular compound or complexes. The atomizer must convert these species to the reduced free gas phase atomic state. The atomizer generally does this via thermal energy, and some chemical reaction is also involved. There are two types of the atomizer. The first is the flame atomizer and the second is the electrothermal atomizer. In flame atomizer, we use burners like total consumption burner and laminar flow burner. But because of certain disadvantages, like a large portion of the sample flows down the drain and the residence time atoms in the optical path is very short, that is less than 10 to the power minus 4 second, we can use the electrothermal atomizers. The electrothermal atomizers are also known as graphite furnace. And the advantages of this electrothermal atomizer is that it is more sensitive. There is a direct analysis of some liquid and solid sample. There is low spectral interference and a very small amount of sample is required. But the disadvantage is that it is difficult to control and having low precision. So this is a electrothermal atomizer, which is also known as graphite furnace. It consists of a hollow graphite tube. This is the a hollow graphite tube which is 5 centimeter long and 1 centimeter internal diameter. The tube is opened at both the ends. It is open at both the ends and has central hole. This is the central hole to introduce the sample by using a micropipette. This tube is arranged in such a way that radiation from the source passes along the axis of the tube. This is the axis of the tube. Two electrodes are fitted at the end of the tube. The inert gas like neon or argon is allowed to flow over the tube to avoid the oxidation of the graphite. The tube is surrounded by water cooled metal jacket. The solution of the sample to be analyzed is introduced by inserting the micropipette through the port in the outer jacket and the gas inlet in the center of the graphite tube. The graphite cylinder is then heated by the passage of electric current to a temperature that is enough to evaporate the solvent from the solution. The current is then increased. What are the advantages? The temperature that is it will give a temperature which is enough to ash the sample and to produce the metal atoms. The sample volume required is very less. No need of fuel oxidant mixture. It is having high sensitivity. There is no flame noise, and solid sample can be used directly, and the heat distribution is uniform and the temperature is steady. The next important instrumentation portion is monochromator. Prism or grating monochromator, similar to UV visible spectrophotometry, are used also in the atomic absorption spectroscopy. The function of the monochromator is to select a given absorbing line from the spectral lines by the emitting hollow cathode lamp. The next important instrumentation portion is detector, and the common detector for atomic absorption spectroscopy is the photomultiplier tube. Photomultiplier tube we have already discussed in UV visible spectroscopy. The link is given in the description box. Please refer to the link. Now the application of the atomic absorption spectroscopy. The first important application is that it is used for the water analysis. The second, it is used for food analysis. It is also used in the analysis of animal feed stuff. It is also used in the analysis of additives in the lubricating oils and the greases, used in the analysis of soil, and also for clinical analysis of the blood sample, whole blood plasma, serum, etc. Now, what are the advantages of atomic absorption spectroscopy over flame atomic absorption spectroscopy? The first important advantage is that we can use solutions, slurries and solid sample in the atomic absorption spectroscopy. The method is much more efficient. The second, it have a greater sensitivity. A smaller quantity of sample is required. It produces a reducing environment for easily oxidized elements. But the disadvantage is that it is expensive, having low precision, low sample throughput, and requires high level of operator skill. Now coming to the quantitative analysis by using atomic absorption spectroscopy. The quantitative analysis can be done by using calibration curve method and the standard addition method. The absorbance is directly proportional to the concentration, so we can get a calibration curve having a straight line, and by using this straight line calibration curve we can determine the unknown concentration. Calibration curve method we have already discussed, and the link is provided in the description box. The second important method is a standard addition method. In this method, the absorbance of the unknown is first found out by aspirating into the flame against the blank. Then a series of standards having definite amount of unknown plus varying amount of standard are prepared and diluted to some same volume in each case. Their absorbance is then obtained. A graph of absorbance against concentration of the standard gives a linear curve. The concentration of unknown can be determined by extrapolation of the line which cuts to x-axis. So this is a standard addition method graph in which we can take absorbance at y-axis and concentration on x-axis. These are the point for x, x plus s, x plus 2s, x plus 3s, and so on. And when we extrapolate the line, then this is the point for the concentration of unknown. So this is all about the principle, instrumentation and application of atomic absorption spectroscopy. If you like this video, please do subscribe my channel and share with your friends. Thank you for your time.